We're all changing. That's the only thing we know for sure, but we have a choice. And the ashram has changed and is changing. And what we're trying to figure out is how to restructure ourselves over and over again as people come and go. Karma yogis stay on, karma yogis go. Different things happen. And so in doing that, we want to make sure that our intention, our purpose is really clear. And that clarity helps bring change into effect more easily. And it changes chaos into order, clarity. When we want to change, we really have to put some effort in. And it's interesting because the more we change, the more we know. If we stayed static, we wouldn't learn that much. And there's hardly anything that's living that stays static. Rocks crumble and trees grow branches in all kinds of intelligent ways. And as human beings, there's this statement that I read recently. A living being is not a stable structure, but a continuous process of organizing information. So what is the part of us that remains, that has that information, that has that intelligence? And how do we make those choices to change? Because you have to be very aware. And everything around you is more sensitive than you think. The whole world is very sensitive. And people are beginning to realize that. But even if you watch the cat or the deer or another person, you're always watching, you're aware of the changes they're making. And you're recording them somewhere. The deer is looking out for danger. The cat is looking out for you. You're looking out for the cat. So we have to determine what we really value in each other and in the place where you are, and really bring those values in. Coming to some kind of agreement with yourself and with the people around you. And I remember some of the things that, one of the things that Swami Radha said was, when I was at home in my family with the children, she said, well, make sure that you voice it. Make sure that if you're making a change, you voice it so they hear and they know, and then you know that they know, and that you keep to your commitment to change. So that agreement really solidifies what you're going to change into, and then you always have help, of course, because the other people will help you, remember. So the first thing we have to figure out is the values and what we want to change into. And it's sort of like the musicians, they all have to agree, like what song they're going to sing, what key it's in, what tempo it is, or else it sounds pretty off. And so when they're really playing, it's very harmonious, and then everyone can sing in that harmony. So it's like, that's the kind of world you want to change into. That's the kind of world you want to build. It's a harmonious one. So what do you have to do? So what you have to do is conduct yourself in that way and practice. And live together. Somehow that seems important. Because when someone goes off, it's like by themselves and are too independent, too getting their own way, like things don't work. They forget that they're part of a bigger, no matter where you are, a bigger placement, a bigger community. And so when you have other people around you, it becomes apparent what you're doing through your actions, through your words. And so then there's reminders, but it requires awareness and patience and generosity. Because when we're living together, we'll continue to slide back to an old habit, to an old way of being, when we really want to change. So that means that we have to reflect more and reflect more deeply, but also that generosity and that curiosity that what's happening with that person, and giving them room to make a mistake or to have a practice session of changing. So it's not like you can announce change and it will happen. You have to really put some effort in. You really have to make it known, you have to speak it, you have to talk about it, you have to reflect about it, you have to internalize it so it becomes yours. And be willing to receive help in changing. Because you'll get feedback, you'll have adjustments to make, whether minor or major. And as each day goes by, it'll become more familiar. The change you want to make, how you're going to do it, how you can get help. So already in the ashram, people are trying it out. This week when we had our class, we determined what we were going to focus on for the week, and it was consideration. So if you take that into your day, what would it look like? What will it sound like? Can you listen to what someone else is saying? Can you speak to something that you see? Do you know what it feels like to be considerate? And you can be accepting and appreciative of your own effort, because you know you've put some effort in. You know you've spoken up, you know you've listened, you know you've tried to be considerate. So everybody can make their own changes. And Swami Radha suggested at one point that you can just do a change just to get used to change. So if you get up at 7 o'clock, you get up at 6. You do that for a week and see how that feels. Then you make another change in your schedule or something, just to see how change feels. So it's not always coming from the outside. You're doing it yourself. Because we really are creatures of habit. So in order to do that, you really have to be more self-reflective than normal when you're making the change at first, until it becomes your very own. And you're always considerate. And everyone's considerate around you. It spreads. But events will test, crises will come up, and we'll be back in that place of wondering, was I considerate? Was that a test? It's so marvelous how it comes. It's bound to come. Because it'll change. Everything will change. And you will change too. That's a given. It's your choice how you do it and where you end up. What is the shape of your life right now? And how did it get that way? And why are you here? If it's not to change, if it's not to have that support in changing, just making one small change changes a lot of other things. And it makes it easier for you to change too. And for the people here, we'll be on the lookout for considerate people pray on.